Hello and welcome to Jigsaw Shed. So about a year ago I had unboxed the AlgoLaser 5-watt DIY laser, so that was fairly new on the market then, and since then they've started releasing some accessories for it. So this time they have sent me the Rotary chuck for it. So with it they sent some raised leg raisers, so to make it a bit taller, and then there's 3 boxes in here, each with separate bits. So there's a tape measure so you can measure circumference, obviously the data cables for it, connections, some chuck jaws in there, there's a roller support, so if you're doing a long object, and then also a tailstock, so there's a little suction cup sort of effect there. So if you're doing short objects you can put it on there and then that will give support that way. So, and then if we get the rotary chuck out, so there's a base for it, and that itself can angle as well, so you can do things at different angles itself, but the connection port is down here to connect the data cable. But yeah, I guess I need to look at getting it set up then and get started with the project. So let's get going. So I'm not going to say what the project is yet, but there's a little ash blank under the workbench that I decided to pop on the lathe and make a little base. So obviously initially just turning the bottom of it with the mortise before then taking it off the worm screw and flipping it around to get the shape that I want. Right, so now it's time to flip it around. I'm not going to finish it just yet, as I'm still thinking about engraving it as well of definitely my logo at the bottom. So I thought I'll just get the turn done and then work out from there what I'm going to do. Alright, so now on to making a recess. This will be for a tenon to fit into. That is part of the second piece of this project, which we will move on to. And here I'm rough turning it. It's a Beech spindle of about 18 inches long. And yeah, so just need to get it all nice and smooth and go from there. So I'll now move on to the skew chisel for the next stage, but initially, just to make sure I get it the right circumference, I will use the calipers and my parting tool to make little recesses to the same size before using the skew chisel to work in between each of those. The short sections just help with making sure that I get the right size all the way through. And now it is on to making a start with the tenon that will fit into the recess we had done moments before. And once I'm happy with the thickness there, I'll move on to rounding off the top of the spindle. Again using the skew chisel here. Now I'm not completely parting it off because I need to sand this all smooth, and then at the end I will part it off and just use a saw to cut off the little bits at the end. So just finalizing the tenon, making sure I have the right size for the recess before obviously finishing with it on the lathe. And then we're on to setting up the rotary chuck with the laser. Now I've already popped the leg raisers on to raise the height up, but I did later have to raise it up a little bit more just for the rotary chuck to fit underneath. And I'm using the L-shape chuck jaws. They scrolled out far enough that the tenon of the spindle could fit in nicely. Very easy to fit and adjust, and then the roller support just adjusts until you're happy with the level that it is at. This cable is specific for the DIY kit. There's a few other cables that will fit other lasers as well, but obviously these are designed for the AlgoLaser devices. And then just measuring the circumference of the piece, because I need to put that into Lightburn itself. So here we are, there's a design I created in Affinity Designer. I now just need to sort it, get it in position, adjust the chuck as well, and set up the rotary chuck itself. So go into the settings. The instruction manual actually tells you quite nicely how to set this up. Millimeters per rotation it gives you in the manual for this device is 96 millimeters, and then you just add the circumference in there as well, and it does the calculations for you. So just making sure I've got it perfectly lined up as well with the x-axis there, and then can make a start. So they give you the instruction to make sure you add a close home and open home function, and this just allows you to override some of the stopping features itself. So I started it and I was just like, this isn't quite going right. The writing didn't seem where it should be in my design, and that's when I realized that I was going over on the wrong axis. I need to flip the picture over and it will engrave the way I want it to. Alright, so I started this design and you saw there was a message coming up about this may be out of bounds. Didn't pay much heed. I thought, okay, that's just because it's on the with the rotary chuck. But what I didn't realize is that part of my design was so close to the off switch or the home switch that it cut the machine off when it came to the writing at the bottom at around about 270 degrees through. So it's run over an hour by this stage. I then, you will see in a moment, I had to sand it all back and start again. That happened about twice before I realized what was going on. I did reach out to AlgoLaser. They came back saying, oh, can I send them a video of what's happened? Unfortunately, I lost a screen recording of the data on it. But by the third time, I had figured out what happened and made a little adjustment, and we were good to go again after the sanding. So here we are. This is now doing correctly. I'd actually split each of the elements up this time, so that if something went wrong, I didn't have to sand the whole thing back. I can just do the elements that needed to be. But yeah, all worked absolutely fine this time. So this just shows that often it's not the equipment, it's a user, and it most definitely was a user in this case. Alright, so I set the device up for my logo, but you can see there I haven't aligned it properly. I wasn't looking from the right angle, thought I had done it, and it was off center. So there you go, there's the final piece, and hopefully that gives you a clue as to what it is for. Well, thank you for joining me in Jigsaw Shed. So there's the final piece. I had a lot of fun making this. The design was inspired by the practice cat at the veterinary practice where this is going. And as wood turning goes, this was a very easy, simple project to do and would be great for a beginner. Obviously the lasering, I made a few mistakes as a novice with it, but yeah, really pleased with the overall outcome of that. The rotary chuck was really easy to set up and following the instructions in the manual, and it is definitely going to be a very useful tool in the workshop. So thank you AlgoLaser for sending me that. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a comment down below, remember to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you've not done so yet, and I hope to see you next time. Take care.